This is one of the simplest pop-up cards to make, and as per normal what you need to do is start off with your instruction sheet here. So we've got our guidelines for cutting and for the valley and mountain folds, and then a picture to show you what it should look like, and I find that's helpful. And the fireplace with the stocking is the card that we're going to make, as you can see here. So have your guide handy next to you, and then with the sheet print it out, as you can see I've done here. And the guidelines again are very light and pale, but once you cut through them they won't show, so keeping the guidelines close to you will help you see what to do. With a craft knife I'm now going to go through and just cut the lines. I said this is very simple. There's just a couple of fold lines here, in fact 3 main ones. The top, this one here, which will give us our mountain fold, so it's a valley fold, a mountain fold, and another valley fold along here. So what I'll do now is go on ahead and cut out the shapes. A couple of points to note is that the candles, both of these here, and the clock remain upright, so when you fold it you'll see them sticking up. So don't fold when you score the lines, only score up to those points there and then carefully fold, and those will remain upright. If they do get folded, don't worry, just sort of pop them back into position. So the next thing to do now is to cut the lines, and so I'll go on ahead now and just cut out along the black lines, and then I'll also create the shape here and cut all of the inner part of the fireplace out, just leaving the stocking there, and then we'll come to the folding. Once you've cut out all the black lines, and you can see more clearly on the guideline sheet here, we now come to this part of the pop-up, which is the part where we need to score the lines. Remember, we've got mountain and valley folds, but in all honesty I find it easier to actually score everything. Now with scoring the line, we're simply putting a crease into the card, whether it's folding inwards or outwards. I'm using the back of the craft knife. You could use a scoring tool if you wish to, and then just go along and just sort of make the main lines. Remember, the important thing is not to actually score where there isn't a line. Keep referring back to your guideline here, and then we can see that we don't want to put a line in there. It's not the end of the world if you do, but it's just better if you can avoid it. So again, with your guide in front of you, just run along and put the creases in, the crease lines, score lines here. So this is a nice easy one to make, and as ever really the cutting out and the scoring of the lines are the easy part. It's the folding that creates a little bit of difficulty, but this is a really nice simple fold. Still a little bit challenging. So there's 4 lines, there's those 2 up there, the main one that folds in half, and just here is another line which we need to score to the chimney point there, where it's all going to come forward. Now there's a number of different techniques that you can use, and I first of all just go through before I do any folding and just make sure everything's free to move. Very often I find I haven't quite caught the corners, so just check that everything is free to come out, that you're not going to have problems as you fold with any of the cutting out. So just a little check there. And now just to go for the main fold, the halfway fold first. So just holding it in my hands here, I just begin to pull it forward, turn it over. We can see the crease lines there, and just simply give that a nice squeeze. And again, just down here, as I start to squeeze it, I can see my score lines. Remember, with your score lines, don't push too hard. You don't want to break the surface. If you can't do, you can always put a bit of tape on. But that's my fold line, and we can see the other shapes taking place now. So that's the first one to do, the centre line. And this is where it becomes a little bit trickier. I'm going to rest it down and just pull forward on the lower part of the mantelpiece here, and bend the card forward, and then work from behind again here. It's very often sometimes easier just to work from the back. And you can see there I've got my line appearing, so I'll just give that a little bit of a pinch just to set it on its way. And again with the other part here, just give that a little bit of a pinch and put it on its way. So that's the lower part now of the mantelpiece just starting to come proud, and this I do think is a little bit tricky. The next part, just pulling it forward as ever, just gently caress the card. I'm going to just make sure that those are free, and they are, the clock and the two candles, and just bring this forward now, gently bending and pushing up at the same time. Can you see that technique, just to get the lines established, and bending it very gently, because we don't want to put marks in and fold lines where they don't exist. But already you can see now that that's pushing forward like that. So what I will do is just put a little bit of a squeeze on it like so. And now for the back part there, this is the hardest one. This is at 90 degrees. It might be easier to rest your paper on the ground on a firm surface. Can you see this pulling action that I've got here? That's helping to create the crease. And if I just pull it forward, the crease lines, score lines should help it fold. That's getting in the way, but let me just push that out, and there we go. That's now actually folded, and we've got the basic shape there. We can see now, lovely fireplace, chimney place with the stocking. Now to get the card really nice and crisp, what we need to do is fold it over and then push those score lines properly. So gently bring it forward. You can still feel resistance because the lines aren't fully folded yet, and at this point I use a piece of paper, rest it over and just gently rub over. Then with a ruler just tease it across the surface to make the lines nice and tight, and that really gives a lovely crisp line to the card. And then when we open it up, you'll notice again they don't always line up perfectly. We can just trim that to size. I think allowing it to sort of the paper go where it needs to naturally is probably more important than getting a perfect fold. It should fold perfectly, but then things don't always go as they should do. So if it's out a little bit, don't worry about that. Let the card go in the direction that it wants to, and we can square it off afterwards. You can see now we've got our fireplace. You can see the lines in there, and we just pop it upside down. We've got that lovely pop out, so as we open the card, out comes the chimney place like that. So this is a nice simple one to do. A couple of points to remember, just making sure we don't score along the lines here so that they stand proud as we come out, and just cutting out the whole of the back of the fireplace. And remember, you can mount a piece of paper behind or onto the back of your cardstock, and that's how it will appear then when it's opened up.